Edition of Cronkite Sports Live. What's going on with ASU football as the Sun Devils compete in a challenging Pac-12?
Sun Devil hockey's getting rolling, but they have a tough schedule. We're going to preview it all here on CSL.
Sun Devil golf has been posting some top finishes. Who's standing out on the links? Find out on today's edition of Cronkite Sports Live. Glad to have you with us here in downtown Phoenix inside Studio 6 for another edition of Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Ethan Tuttle. Matt Venezia at the desk by my side today. Matt, midterms this week. How are they going for you?
It's been tough, but maybe the busiest week of my academic career. But there's that old saying, C's get degrees. So I'm just trying to finish up and not come up short. Same with ASU football on third downs. And to further evaluate how the Sun Devils have been so poor in third downs, we bring in Jake Seymour.
Manageable third down situations has been a struggle point for ASU, which has given opposing defenses success in countering which plays the offense will run on third and long scenarios. Through 5 games, the Sun Devils have found themselves with an average distance of 7.8 yards to go on third down, which limits their play calls. Here you can see ASU in a 3rd and 4 situation thanks to a 6-yard gain on second down. This allows ASU to either put the ball on the ground or in the air, making their play call unpredictable. Here they opt to find Xavier Valade on a wheel route for their first touchdown of the game.
From the pocket, and he's got his man wide open. That's Valade. He'll walk it in.
On 3rd and 2, the Sun Devils ran a read option, allowing Emory Jones to rush for the first down. But the play is called back due to a holding penalty, putting the offense in a 3rd and long situation. The offense has committed 8 penalties on third downs this season, which has worsened its situation. An incompletion on the following play forces the field goal, leaving 4 possible points on the board in a hostile environment. Here is where USC can get creative. On 3rd and 6, they're able to put 2 linebackers in the A-gap, which allows the defense to drop the ends into coverage, effectively disguising the blitz while still rushing 4 defenders. This creates blocking problems for the offensive line by not blocking the interior defenders, allowing linebacker Raylan Goforth to be unblocked and to bring down Jones. Had Jones had time to make a read, he could have found Jalen Conyers for a possible first down. Instead, the offense is forced to punt, killing the drive. While ASU has had trouble converting on third downs, it all goes back to finding manageable third down scenarios, which comes from first and second downs. If the Sun Devils can have success early in the series, they could find success this week against Washington.
Winning football can't happen without moving the chains consistently. And now Washington comes to Tempe tomorrow afternoon, fresh off an upset loss against UCLA at the Rose Bowl a week ago. And Michael Penix Jr. is maybe not Caleb Williams good, Ethan, but you'd have to think that Donnie Henderson and this defense have him highlighted and circled ahead of this matchup.
No doubt about it when you take a look at PFF's numbers for Penix Jr. It's eye-popping, Matt. Through just 4 games with the Huskies, Penix has already thrown for over 1,700 yards through the air. That's more yards in 4 games for him than any complete season he's had. After battling through some injuries, Penix has come back ready to tear it up. And under first-year head coach Kalen DeBoer, looks like Washington put it together this offseason.
And it's not just Washington, though. A big chunk of the conference seems to have figured it out and improved over this offseason. And it's just the whole conference looking totally different. And to analyze that, we bring in our specialist, Jack Pearson, for today's Impact.
So, Pac-12. USC, UCLA on the move, conference in shambles. It's the worst conference in football, right? Well, maybe not so much. How about 5 teams in this week's AP Top 25? That's more than the ACC, Big 10, and Big 12. The Conference of Champions may actually have a championship caliber team this season. Let's start with the 6th-ranked USC Trojans. Undefeated, coming off a win against ASU, this team looks complete. Caleb Williams and Jordan Addison on a Lincoln Riley-led offense that's averaging 7 yards a play, 480 yards a game. That's tough to beat for any team. Not too far behind are Utah and the Oregon Ducks at 11 and 12. Both dropped a game week 1 to an SEC school in Florida and Georgia, but they have found their stride since, and might I add, have dominated the Pac-12 the last couple of seasons. But these schools were all expected to be good. All ranked in the preseason top 25, all expected to win a lot of football games. But out of nowhere, here comes UCLA and Washington at 18 and 21. The Huskies have that oh-so-sweet signature win against Michigan State, and the Bruins are undefeated and just upset the Huskies last week at the Rose Bowl in a fun Friday night Pac-12 after dark game. I suppose the only question that should be asked now is, will these teams beat each other out of a college football playoff spot? I guess we can only wait and see.
Jack, it seems like while it's been a while since the Pac-12 has been this good, it's also been a while since the Sun Devils have been this bad, and 46 years ago to be exact. So let's go back in time to 1976 with Ethan Tuttle for today's King Tut's Corner.
Birds defecating on your parked car. The weather in Arizona. Maybe that first sip of water in the morning. It's all so consistent. What else is consistent? ASU innovating. Hey, a couple of weeks ago, the university was named #1 in innovation for the 8th straight year, according to U.S. News and World Report. Holy hell, the Devils are on fire. And speaking of fire, this past weekend, Caleb Williams in the Trojan offense torched ASU, and Sun Devil defensive coordinator Donnie Henderson had a, well, not so innovative statement about how to bring guys to the ground.
Got to grab cloth. You got to grab cloth. When you miss tackles, most of the time you're trying to wrap and you're grabbing, but you don't have anything in your hand. And the bottom line is you got to grab cloth.
I mean, hey, he isn't wrong, is he? Sun Devils struggling here as we approach the midpoint of the season. But come on, that's no glaring observation. However, it's been a while since the Sun Devils have stooped this low. In fact, it's been 46 years. You have to go all the way back to 1976. That was the last time Arizona State football was 1-4 to start a football season. Let's go ahead and take a look at how much things have changed since then. Not a lot of CGI and special effects involved in this classic sports movie about the underdog from Philly. Just some great dialogue and casting in this one. 76 gave us a good one with this all-time classic full of inspiring scenes and an iconic soundtrack. Johnny Majors led the Pitt Panthers to a national championship the same year Rocky went toe-to-toe with Apollo Creed. 27-3 the final over one of today's powerhouses, Georgia. A bottle of soda at the game, right around 10 cents to purchase. Tuition back in the day at ASU, however, was $8,200. Might seem pricey compared to that bottle of Coke, but when you look at the price of school today, you just laugh at how fast that number has risen. In Phoenix, just 1.1 million people occupied this space in 1976. That's a stark contrast to today's 4.5 million person population today. ASU football, though, still 1-4. Not a lot has changed on the football field since 76. Whew. Well, ASU will hope to correct course and win this Saturday against Washington. Otherwise, it will be in its worst slump since the 1940s. Just catching up on my social media there, my fault, but there's some interesting stuff to take a look at, including this Arizona Cardinals tweet. Looks like they picked up on the whole innovation thing as well with former ASU running back Eno Benjamin here. That's really great stuff, but seriously, how about the ability of Eno Benjamin being able to kick off, make a tackle, run the ball? Pretty soon he might even be taking snaps. I mean, who's to say, right? Well, if there's one guy that won't be under center this weekend, that's me. I'm here in the studio and not on the field for a reason. All right, that's all the time we have in the corner this week. Thanks again for joining me, everyone. League Devils, some of these former Arizona State standout football players standing out at the next level at the NFL. Matt, here's Cardinals running back Eno Benjamin, of course. Just got done talking to him. He's been incredible so far this year for the Cardinals, and he just continues to surprise the Cardinal faithful.
And another guy, former Sun Devil, Jack Jones, defensive back, a 4th-round pick to the New England Patriots. We know that guy, number 12. That's Aaron Rodgers, and he takes this one to the house. 13 looks pretty good for Jones in that New England red, white, and blue, Ethan. And he's got a little celly there, too, at the end. Good looking there, and we'll get a replay here, too.
Yeah, Jack Jones always coming in with the nice cellies. You know, fans got to get what they pay for. He's making sure they're getting that. New England fans are all about Jack Jones. He's been a standout at that cornerback position, like you said, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Lambeau couldn't have been too happy, but look at this here in Tampa, not too far from where I'm at home. Rachaad White, that's not Leonard Fournette. He's taken advantage of the opportunity, getting reps ahead of Fournette, who didn't really carry the ball too much the other day against the Chiefs. And Rachaad White, first career touchdown there for the Bucs.
Not many people get to say they get a handoff from the GOAT in football. Rachaad White with a fun one there. After having its 5-game win streak snapped this past weekend by Stanford, ASU women's soccer is trying to steer the ship back onto a winning course. That's no small task, though, with conference play ramping up and team after team coming ready to play competitive soccer. Last night, UCLA and ASU squared off. Let's hop into some of the highlights as Arizona took a trip out west to Los Angeles. Let's start off here in the 50th minute as a terrific goal from freshman Allie Lemos. Look at that finish, top bins, top left corner. A terrific goal. That's her first collegiate goal, if you can believe it, assisted by Brianne Riley. And for the Sun Devils, you couldn't really say the same, as turnovers in the attacking end would kind of be the downfall for the Sun Devils over and over again. Here you see the Sun Devils trying to work it down towards the Bruins net, nothing going, and when they finally do get down there, it's a missed opportunity that sails over the net. Back in the 71st minute, ASU turnover, and it is going to be a goal for UCLA as a gorgeous chip shot, 4-0 the final from Los Angeles. Now on a 2-game losing streak, Sun Devil soccer has to continue a tough stretch of opponents. Doesn't get any easier. Next game up is against the USC Trojans. They have found some success, bolstering a better record so far than ASU. Now, let's take a look at what USC will bring to the game.
As ASU continues their California road trip on Sunday, they'll go toe-to-toe with USC, a top 10 team that has won 2 national championships over the last 15 years. Led this season by Croy Bethune, who was named the best player in the nation by Top Drawer Soccer after being named an All-American a season ago, the Trojans are trying to emulate their success from 2021 when they finished second in the Pac-12 by just 1 point. The roster is loaded with talent who has national team experience, including Simone Jackson, Simi Awujo, Sam Burns, and Brooklyn Courtnall, who all appeared in the U20 World Cup earlier this year. With new leadership this season under first-year head coach Jane Alukonis, who hoped UCLA to a College Cup appearance in 2019 as an assistant, the new era of USC soccer is already off to a quick start as the team had an 8-game unbeaten streak following their season-opening loss to Purdue. The Sun Devils will be dealing with a team who prides itself with its depth. The Trojans have spread the wealth so far this season, with 8 different players recording a goal, along with 12 players having at least 1 point. After starting conference play 3-0, USC dropped a match at home on Thursday afternoon against U of A, proving it is possible to come home from Troy with a victory. If the Sun Devils want to stay on the right track before coming home, they'll have to contain a team that has put up 9 goals in their last 3 contests and has beaten ASU 6 times over the last 7 seasons. A win at USC would break ASU's 2-game losing streak and mark their first win over a ranked opponent this season. It won't be easy by any sense, but don't write the Sun Devils off on Sunday.
Ben Paris with a little bit of a preview there on what to expect from USC. Now we're welcoming him into the studio. Ben, the Sun Devils have now dropped 2 conference games in a row. What's the likelihood they can get this thing back on track here coming up on Sunday?
Ethan, it's certainly possible for the Sun Devils to come home from LA with a win, but they have to generate offense, something they've had a tough time doing in their last few Pac-12 games. And they got to get their seniors going as well. Nicole Douglas, who leads the team in goals, has yet to register a goal in conference play and has only had a single shot on goal in the last 4 games. Look, if ASU wants to beat a top 10 team, they have to play their very best team soccer, and it's possible. They got to do it on Sunday.
All right, thank you so much, Ben. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's coming up for Arizona State soccer here within the upcoming weeks. Of course, we just talked all about that USC game, and then pretty soon the Sun Devils are going to come back to Tempe for a home match against 5-2 Utah. Finally, they'll head to the Pacific Northwest for a pair of matches against Washington State and Washington.
Moving right along, we're going to Phoenix for a crosstown rivalry in fall ball softball, ASU and GCU. Let's take you out there now. Marissa Schold in the circle for the Sun Devils. Not off to a good start, though. CC Wong with a 3-run bomb, putting the Lopes on top early. But in the second inning, Jasmine Hill trying to respond for the Sun Devils. She takes one deep, and ASU gets a run back. We saw CC Wong a second ago. She's going to come right back into the box and do it again. Big shot here. Her second straight at bat with a long ball, and the lead is now 5-1 for the Lopes. The Sun Devils, though, not going away just yet as Gianna Bacagno hits a 2-run bomb here, and it's a 1-run game entering the last 3 innings. Bottom half of that same frame, Kinsey Kelso comes up, and she puts this one to bed. 2-run bomb, and the Lopes get advantage there. They take care of the Sun Devils 7-5. We'll send it to the new head coach, Megan Bartlett, after the game.
I love the challenge. I think it's good for us and it's good for them. And again, that's going to be another, it's going to be a team we're going to see in postseason. So happy for the challenge. We'll make some adjustments heading in 2 weeks and go get them.
Good notes there from ASU's new bench boss, and now Riley Swenson joins us to break down what we have seen this fall with Arizona State softball. Riley, what are some differences you've noticed between new coach Megan Bartlett and former coach Trisha Ford?
Yeah, well, she's going to be way more into the offensive side of the ball, and she's voiced that in talking with her after the game last Friday. She said the first thing that she went to is kind of how they perform the offensive side of the ball. Trisha Ford, she was an offensive coach as well, but Megan Bartlett comes from Texas last year. Of course, they played in the Women's College World Series Finals against Oklahoma. They led the nation in doubles, set all kinds of school records with offensive statistics. They're at Texas, a storied softball program. So now coming to ASU, she's trying to implement that same kind of style here with the Sun Devils.
And now, Riley, a year ago, the Sun Devils had a 1-9 that rivaled some of the very best in all of college softball. On the other hand, though, this year's team looks completely different.
Yeah, they brought in some freshmen, they brought in some transfers, but looking early on in this fall season like it's going to be the players last year who didn't get a chance to play because, like you said, that 1-9 was so strong. Well, this year they're going to get their chance. The outfield's going to remain very similar. They still have Yanni Acuna and Jazz Hill out there. But in the infield, you got players like Savannah Price moving into shortstop and Jordan Van Hook taking over at first base. And it's going to be kind of their opportunity first, and it's going to be their job to lose as the season goes on.
Now, it's pretty crazy to think that a year ago the Sun Devils hosted a super regional and were a top 15 team week in and week out. But now you lose to your crosstown rival in GCU in fall ball, I know, but is it time to hit the panic button yet with ASU softball?
Yeah, obviously you never want to lose. I mean, that's why you play the games, that's why they're playing this fall, it's to compete, but absolutely not time to hit the panic button at all. There's going to be some growing pains early on. We've talked about the lineup changeover, obviously the coaching changeover, but GCU is a good team. They went to the NCAA tournament last year. They were in that field of 64. They won their conference tournament, so no need to hit the panic button just yet, but definitely something that Coach Bartlett's going to want to address moving forward.
Well, thank you so much, Riley, for joining us here with the insight. We're going to be keeping a close eye on this new softball team under the new coach, Megan Bartlett. We'll keep up with softball here throughout the year.
With a shiny new arena on South Packer Drive, a handful of incoming talent mixed in with a bunch of talent from last year, hopes are high inside the doors at the Sun Devil hockey program. But it's a start and a half for the Sun Devils as they have hockey powerhouses spread out across the schedule. Later today, ASU begins a 2-game slate against Bemidji State, and then the first home series in Mullet Arena against Colgate on October 14th.
Hockey season is underway for Arizona State, and the Sun Devils are slated to face several ranked opponents over the course of this year. And according to head coach Greg Powers, this tough schedule is no mistake.
Yeah, tough schedule. It's by design. You go and you can get some wins against those guys. It's the gift that keeps on giving, the pairwise, and that's why we do it. And we're certainly, starting out not dodging anybody.
Powers is correct. ASU really isn't dodging any competition. After beginning the season with 2 losses to then number 5 Minnesota Duluth, the Sun Devils have 21 remaining opponents, 7 of which are currently ranked in the USA Today Top 20. ASU's difficult schedule is highlighted by dates with number 3 North Dakota, number 2 Minnesota, number 1 and defending national champions Denver, and number 5 Minnesota State. And in the past, ASU has shown that they can handle the top squads in the country. Last year, the Sun Devils went a respectable 6-9 against ranked teams, but it was the unranked opponents that caused problems for Powers' group. A record of 11-8-1 against non-ranked teams was what separated ASU from a spot in last season's NCAA tournament.
If you can beat all the teams you're supposed to beat, then split against really the rest, we're going to be a tournament team. That's the way college hockey works and the pairwise works, and it rewards you for challenging yourself from a schedule standpoint.
While ASU is certainly skilled enough to go toe-to-toe with the nation's very best, every game on the schedule matters, and the Sun Devils will have their work cut out for them all season long. Back to you guys.
It's going to be interesting to see what the atmosphere is like out on the ice mat with Bemidji State transfer Lucas Sillinger suiting up in the maroon and gold for Arizona State against his former team, Bemidji State.
Yeah, it was good to see him get a goal last weekend, too, in Duluth for the Sun Devils. And it's also worth noting a pretty good start from Northeastern transfer TJ Semtenfelter. He had a .917 save percentage over the weekend. And when you have a guy like him standing on his head in net, you can steal games on the road. ASU's offense will get going. We know that. We saw it last year with a 22.5% power play effectiveness. And obviously, this is some of the best talent the Sun Devils have ever had on the roster for Coach Powers and his team. So it's going to take some time to sort out the lines. Just give it a second before the Sun Devils come back to Mullet Arena, hopefully with some wins after going up to Bemidji this weekend. And now we're going to keep it rolling here with some highlights, checking out Arizona State golf. And we'll take you out now to the early part of the round. We'll take you to the second hole. This is Jose Ballester with a drive here. And look at that little club twirl. He liked that one just off the green. He'll chip up here and leave that birdie attempt pretty short next to the cup. He taps in there to go down 1 under. And now we move on here to Preston Summerhays out in the fairway. 70 yards out, a 60 degree in hand. And that thing's just going to check up right where it needs to be. And with how hot Summerhays' putter has been recently, you know this one's going in. He's going to move that 2 over down to 1 over there on the 6th hole. And we're going to keep it with Preston here, moving on to hole number 9. Summerhays here, that's Ballester. He's going to have a shot here on the 9th with driver in hand, setting himself up with a good look here. Lob wedge in hand, and again, another close opportunity there. The Sun Devil approach shot's looking pretty good out there in Fort Worth, Texas, and he'll knock this one in as well for another birdie attempt for the Sun Devils. And now we're going to stay on 9, and this is where we're going to see Preston Summerhays come up here. A 60-degree lob wedge in hand. Again, keeping him in the fairway, it makes it easy to do this, putting him right on the green. And again, his putter's been so hot, we don't even have to show you this putt, but we will. It's about a 7-footer here for Summerhays. He gets it to go, and now he's in red figures at 2 under. Here's Coach Thurman.
And then you got to get them to the range. And in days like today where there's a shotgun, everyone's got their range station, and there's a chance that some other team is in your stall. And you got to have a guy on your team who is your enforcer that's ready to go up there and kick anybody out. And if it's a member, you kick them out. But we got to have somebody do that. And you walk, usually you don't really pay much attention when they're hitting balls or putting. You're kind of thinking about snacks. You got to have snacks. Twizzlers, Red Vines, M&Ms, pretzels. And I'd be lying if I haven't said I haven't had a couple energy drinks already this morning.
Pretty good stuff there from Coach Thurman, and he's even the best of moods in the thick of a tournament. He still has some fun. And speaking of fun, sophomore Preston Summerhays, who we just watched a second ago, looks like he's always having fun while consistently shooting in the red numbers under par. He's our standout player this week, and with more, here's Henry Dominique.
A standout performance for the Sun Devils this week came from super sophomore Preston Summerhays, who carded his final 2 rounds under 70 with a stellar 63 for his second round, in which he birdied 6 of his first 9 holes. He also currently leads the team with 6 rounds under 70 for the year. He finished the tournament with a 3 under par 207, tied for 8th, and was the biggest contributor for the Sun Devils on the scorecard. Jose Ballester was the second member of the ASU golf team to end the tournament under par. He finished 1 under for the tournament, good enough for 15th. Another Sun Devil to shoot around in the red at the tournament was sophomore Riggs Johnston, who came up big late in the tournament, putting together a scorching 67 for his 3rd round with the help of 6 birdies, 4 of them coming on the back 9. Even with the departure of David Pooge to the LIV Golf Tour, Arizona State men's golf still seems to be in good hands for the future. Back to you guys.
From course to court now, as we focus into ASU volleyball, our own Dylan Wickman runs through the Sun Devils roster and gives some numbers to back it up. Dylan?
Thanks, guys. The Sun Devils have proven that they have a lot of talent at the libero position, with senior Annika Larson-Numer and sophomore transfer Jaden Ravensburg battling for minutes at the position. Ravensburg has been the starter for most of the season, as she has started in 12 of the Sun Devils' 16 matches. To this point, Ravensburg has tied 148 digs and averages 3.2 digs per set. Opposing teams average 5.8 aces per match against the Sun Devils when she starts, compared to Larson, who gives up 6.5 aces per match. Larson, in her limited play, has totaled 85 digs on the season and averages 4.6 digs per set in her starts. Ravensburg has proven to be more consistent in receiving aces, though, as she only has 4 receiving errors on the season, compared to Larson, who has 6 in the last 3 matches. It is a good problem for coach Sonia Tomasevich to have, and it'll be interesting to see how she manages her talent moving forward in Pac-12 play. Back to you guys.
Dylan, the libero battle is something we will continue to follow, as UCLA and Arizona State are going to be at Desert Financial Arena later this evening. And this Bruins team is not the same team ASU saw a year ago. No former Conference Player of the Year, Mac May, to worry about. And as a result, UCLA's 0-4 in Pac-12 play. It's crazy to think that this Bruins team made it to the Sweet 16 a year ago, losing in straight sets to Wisconsin. With all that said, the Sun Devils can't overlook a weaker Bruin team because it's been 7 years since ASU's last tournament appearance. Look out for these storylines on the Pac-12 stream tonight at 7 p.m. I'll be there on the call with Kevin Malater. We'll have it for you at DFA. And that is all we have for you in Studio 6 today. It's been an awesome show loaded with a ton of Arizona State content. For everyone in the control room that helped make this happen and the people that went out and shot it for you, he's been Ethan Tuttle, and I'm Matt Venezia. We say so long, and we'll see you next time on Cronkite Sports Live.